All right, we were saying how video's not meant to exist.
Yep. It's it's fake, man. It's all
It's
fake.
it's the devil's work. It's magic.
Yep. Screens are the devil.
Like how Native Americans, I believe it was the legend that was like, don't get a picture taken every time you get a photo taken of you. It like takes a piece of your soul.
Yeah.
Well, that is one of the interesting things about To Live Forever with media, where it's like photos, videos, audio recordings, how you could not technically live forever, but like your essence or your memory of you.
Yeah. I mean, eventually even computer chips will disintegrate, right?
Yeah, I mean, you'd think so,
But the
unless out
energy,
in the cloud,
mhm. But all the cloud is somebody else's hard drive that you're storing your stuff on.
right? Like, I always imagine something like there's this giant space station up in like the heavens that's like, kind of along the idea of like this life or this planet or whatever, this reality is a simulation. I'm like, well, there must be some sort of hard drive way out there then that's like storing everything, and it's out there processing and rendering our entire reality. And
Mhm.
you know like, oh, wasn't that Duncan Trussell who was saying that COVID, he's like, what if this was just like, we are in a simulation and this is just like an iPhone going through an update.
Right.
Pretty interesting outlook.
I mean, I'm not so I don't know, man. The more stuff I see, like the have you are you aware of the Chick-fil-A Mandela Effect?
No. Oh, the
Well,
logo.
just the way it's spelled,
I think I've
because
seen it, but what
I
is it?
so the way I remember it from because we never had any Chick-fil-A in Great Falls, and I don't think in Missoula for like the longest time. I never seen one. And the first time I seen one was at I think it was at a mall. It might have been the mall in Great Falls, but it was after a long time, after I came back.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I remember it spelled like Chicfila. Like there's no K on the chick.
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking that too. I'm like, why is it spelled weird like that? Like it's cheek fillet or
All
chic.
right.
But yeah, and then now it's with the K. So I don't know. I thought that was weird. But then the hot pockets, something that I noticed, and it could just be me, but I always thought it was just hot pocket without an S at the end. But apparently it's hot pockets.
I don't know. You
Think
know,
about that one.
what's really weird is, how a lot of it, there was that big thing about Sinbad and his movie Shazam or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so I seen this one thing that was like scene from Shazam, and all these different things that are in the Mandela Effect. You may have seen this before. There's this scene where these kids, they're in a room, and like all these objects that are in the Mandela Effect, they're like looking through them. So let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I'll be able to, but that really tripped me out because I was just like, dude, what? What a coincidence that there's a scene in this movie where they're like, oh, look at all these toys or whatever. And they're like all these things that nowadays people are like, do you notice this? What is this change? Why?
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna try to find it as we chat because I was tripping on the Mandela effect hardcore for a while. Did you ever go
Yeah,
down that rabbit hole?
I mean, a little bit. Like I said, there's only a couple that really I thought were really weird, like the Fruit of the Loom logo. I don't know if you heard of that one.
Mm, I'm not sure. I might have to
So
bring some of these up.
yeah, so the Fruit of the Loom logo was people remember it as having like a cornucopia in the background,
I
which
remember
is like
that.
that like horn looking ornament,
Yeah.
like Thanksgiving dinner type shit. Um, but yeah, apparently it never had that.
Hmm. Well, I found this scene
Let's check it.
and all right. Yeah, super strange, but we'll see how it goes.
What are you doing?
Dad couldn't have thrown out all of Mom's stuff. He just couldn't have. James, there's gotta be something he forgot here. Something real we can remember her by.
Curious George having a
Mhm.
tail
Our
or not.
memories. They're
Yep.
real. No one can take that from us.
Yeah.
No one
Clean
can
this
take
up.
away our Mandela
Can you imagine
effect.
if Dad saw this mess?
Right?
Really hooked on them.
Bless you.
I don't know what that was. The Fruit Loops thing. So Nelson Mandela on the paper. Berenstein
Yep.
Bears, Monopoly.
What is
Weird.
that?
Weird.
I'm getting goosebumps right now.
Whoa.
What's happening?
Oh, man, it feels good to get out that thing. Woo! Kind of cramped up in there. Should have took you long enough, Tina. Wait, y'all are not Tina. Wait.
I don't even know if
Where you
there's
going?
more
I just got here.
Mandela effect stuff in here.
What happened to saying hello?
But Kit Kat.
I believe we got
That
off
was
on the
one.
wrong foot.
That one seems pretty obviously placed.
Closer.
Okay,
Right.
this is what we're gonna do.
Nerf
We're gonna start all
gun.
over, right? I'm gonna introduce myself. I am Shazam! I'm the genie of the lamp. And you are.
You're not a genie. Genies aren't real.
Every time I come out the lamp, I hear the same thing.
You better get out of here, all right?
Oh, you what? But you gonna toot me to death? Shazam! Not gonna scream again, are you? Because look, if you do, I'm gonna have to take one of your wishes away.
He is a genie.
Why, you're a little Tina.
That was my mom's name.
How long have I been in this lamp? She has kids now? I thought we had something going on, me and your mother. Now, I know I'm 2,000 years older than she is, but look, Clint Eastwood did it. It could happen. Age ain't nothing but a number. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my god.
Wait, you knew her mom?
You can make me
When
my
did this movie
own
come out?
dinosaur.
I'm not sure.
That'd have been like 96.
Are you looking it up or no?
I can.
Isn't that weird though, dude? Nelson Mandela, all these things that people are like, the Berenstein Bears, Monopoly, Kit Kat. What is going on here, bro?
Is it Shazam or Kazam?
Shazam.
Oh,
It's
wait.
just-
Kazam was the Shaq movie, right?
yeah, where he's a genie.
So that's the one everybody knows, but Shazam is the one.
Some people are like, it didn't exist.
But we just seen a clip from it.
Yeah, so I've seen some interviews where people
That could have that looked actually he was old in that.
maybe this guy is an actual genie that doesn't age. It's just a number, and he's like some mystical being or something. I don't know.
It says Kazam came out in 96. I was right. But
Well,
that wasn't it though. That was Shazam.
oh, well, so let's check out some of these here. Okay, yeah. The
Mandela Effect stuff.
yeah. Kit Kat, what they're like, oh, it has a dash in it.
Oh, right.
Some of these things I can understand where I'm like, oh yeah, people change their logos. You know.
Mhm.
Fruit Loops. I always remember it with the 2 O's.
Yeah.
Cheez-It. Cheez-Its, I don't really.
I think it was Cheez It. Or
I
is it
think so.
Cheez Its? I don't know.
I don't know,
See
but
it.
the Fruit of the Loom, I thought that had a cornucopia.
Yeah. A lot of this stuff is like, I feel like it's stuff that you don't really pay attention to. So when you have to try to remember it, your mind just kind of fills in the blanks of like what you thought it was.
Right, and in my mind,
See,
I'm like,
there's the Chick-fil-A one right there. That one I know though. I remember having that thought, like, why is it spelled like that?
right, and so that's one of the arguments I've heard. And Looney Tunes, I think I remember it being tunes, like as in a music tune.
Yeah,
You would think it would be tunes like cartoon,
right. I don't
but
remember that one.
Toon Squad is spelled like a song, like from Space Jam, you know?
Yep.
So I don't know. But in my mind, logos can change, right?
Yep.
And like they'll be like 10 years, like, you know what? Well, there's a change in this department, or there's this legal fiasco, and we have to change the logo or the name, or we just want to update. So, and Berenstain Bears, I'm like, I don't really know. I don't remember the letters too much
Yeah, me
when I
neither.
was a kid. But I did see this one thing that was like, I don't even know if I'll be able to find the video. I think it was on like TikTok or something. But I think this is it. Possibly. We'll see. Basically what it was this dude was walking. This is it. From one room to the next.
This is the first video.
Creepy picture in the background.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, this is weird. So I just have to show you. I hung this thing up. I got it a long time ago. My cousin painted that picture. It used to be hanging over here.
Creepy nun picture.
I decided to move it over there. I put this
Celtic
over here
knot
just
tree.
for the hell of it. I'm only bringing this up because until I had done those two things, things were normal inside of this room right here. So as the night I did this, it was just a couple nights ago, that really weird stuff started to happen in that room.
Why would you put it right outside your room?
Things, I thought I was going crazy. I thought I was seeing stuff. So I'm doing this video so you guys can see. And I'm gonna show it to you live. This book, this is one of my nephew's books. It's just an old book. It's something my brother and I used to have growing up. And I started to look on the internet about this crap, and some weird stuff going on here with this name, Berenstain Bears. So I had this book, again, it's my nephew's, but I had this book in my closet from when they came over. I wanted to give it back to them. I planned on going out there to see them. And I dug it out, and I noticed that the Berenstain had said Berenstein in that room. But I come out here into just the normal other part of the house, and it says this. So so you know I'm not crazy, I'm going to show you as I pass through this doorway what happens, and it's fucking weird. All right, it happens when it gets in the room. See it? And then back out here.
See the A change to an E?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? Uh-huh. Yeah. And then normal. I don't. This just creeps me out, man. I don't even like to be in this room anymore. But I sleep in here. You look at that. That shit is changing. Right there.
I don't know.
Anyway.
I don't know either.
Especially for it to
I
be,
just know.
it's kind of ironic that the book is called On Time, which, you know, makes you think of time and space stuff. But what are your thoughts?
I mean, you never know.
Could be good editing.
Yeah, like it's so easy to fake stuff.
True that. But there's something that really just freaks me out. Like, I'm like, what is the coincidence in that movie with all those objects? And then these differences nowadays. I don't know what that is.
Well, like I said, that's supposedly like a found scene from that movie that nobody can
Mhm.
find. But he was old in that movie. If that movie came out back when around the same time this other one came out, Sinbad would have been way younger back then.
Yeah, so I seen an interview with him on, it might have been like Breakfast Club or some other show, and he's saying, because people are like, we can't find this movie. Why can't anybody find Shazam? And he said, he's like, well, back in that time, I had a real issue with drugs and alcohol I was going through, and I contacted all these places and had them take it off the shelves and this and that or whatever. And so basically he was trying to say that narrative of like, I wanted it taken away or something, but I don't know,
Right.
dude. It's a strange thing. That stuff really trips me out. There's a cool movie called Mandela Effect. Have you heard of it?
No.
It's about a computer programmer that him and his wife, their daughter dies, and you know, it really puts him in a huge depression and this and that. And I think, you know, he starts to hear these things about like the reality matrix being a simulation or a big computer program. And so basically he's like, well, I'm a programmer. I could figure out how to hack into the matrix and reprogram it, bring my daughter back.
Right.
So it's a cool, interesting movie, cool visuals, cool philosophy behind it. But that's kind of where my mind goes with this Mandela Effect stuff. And if there is, I like to think that there could be in the multiverse, you know, multiple timelines. So then I'm like, well, you know, like it's something like, well, what if we slipped onto this timeline right next to us, or 2 or 3 down from whatever timeline we were on, to where the Chick-fil-A logo, that's the only difference or whatever in that universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have no idea, but when I try to understand or figure things out, that's where my mind goes.
Well, the Mandela effect it's interesting, but just like any like conspiracy theory like that, like I mean, what's your main source for getting this information? It's just going to be a bunch of random people. So, you know, some are going to be like, dang, that's pretty, like, you know, that's pretty good information or whatever, you know, like pretty convincing or whatever. And then there's just going to be crazy people that are like saying everything is a Mandela effect or So I
Right.
mean, I don't know, man. I think, like I said, there's only been a couple that have really tripped me out, and the Chick-fil-A one was one, and because I didn't even like hear about that anywhere. I seen it, and I seen the sign, and I'm like, didn't it used to be spelled like that? Like I didn't see the Mandela Effect online or anything. And then I looked it up, and other people were thinking the same thing. So I'm like, dang.
I remember it just with a C.
So without the K,
Yeah. What do you
yeah,
remember?
that's what I remember. It was
Well,
like cheek.
yeah, and that's another one of those things where people could argue like, well, they just changed their company name or whatever. But that's one of the other arguments or studies or theories behind the Mandela effect is, could this just be a collective consciousness and memory thing, like when large groups of people think they remember it this way
Yeah,
or not, then just that influence that a group of people has on uh, the rest of people.
right.
And if we all start to believe it because so many people believe it was this way.
Man, I had a crazy thought the other day about like, what if what if it was like there have been so many different past like civilizations and like eras of humanity that just get like wiped away, and the next generation gets taught like just like a whole new like fake history, and they kind of like start over, and it's just like our overlords are basically just like, okay, this fucking extinction needs to happen or whatever, and then it just starts over, and they're like, okay, well, 65 million years ago there was dinosaurs. And I'm not saying this is what I think or anything, but it was just a crazy thought I had.
Were you high?
Probably.
Yeah. So I've had thoughts like that as well, and I think that's a lot of the basis maybe behind Scientology. Or
Well, I
there's
just
the cave theory of like being, I think that's what they do when like they try to deprogram people, something where they're like, no, what you believe is wrong.
right,
And it's like if you were born in a cave and you've never seen the world
right.
and you were never told that an ocean exists, and then you get out of the cave and you're like, there's an ocean? What?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that was, I guess, the basis of my thought was, um just kind of like the history is written by the victors. Like, we only know what we're being taught, you know. I'm not saying it's flat earth and we live under a dome or anything, but
Well, that's the big I'm wearing my NASA hat, as you can see. That's
mhm,
one of the other rabbit holes I went down that really threw me for a loop because I was doing a lot of LSD and um Ormus at that time, which was another controversial substance, was monoatomic gold,
mm,
which people, you can just order it and it's probably in like health shops,
right.
where you can consume it and it's really good for the body and mind. It's like gold. Anyways, I would hear all these theories about, oh, the reptilians or Anunnaki created the humans to harvest gold so they can make monoatomic gold and like live forever or fuel their reality matrix, or I don't know. But so when I started, I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell because I was also using LSD regularly.
Yeah.
And when I say regular, I mean like microdosing every day. And by the night, I was probably just eating full doses.
Mhm.
And so with the Oramus, it felt like, people would say it has like this real, almost like psychic spike where your vibration just like totally enhances. So, and I felt that. I started feeling like like I was on like other levels of consciousness, or I was like super tuned in. You know, like you might be living your life all normal as a human, and then I straight up felt like I was like, damn, dude, I am straight up like an antenna right now.
Mhm.
And so when I started using these substances, that's when I got in this flat earth stuff started coming through my feed. And it wasn't just about flat earth and living in a dome, but it went so deep. And I think this was probably the substances in my mind. It drove me to this point of craziness because what I was searching for was the truth, and not just the truth about, you know, like the world and the government or the meaning of life. It was more like the truth of like, what is life? Like, what is reality? How is it even made? How is it that we exist and that there's like, energy and sound waves and all this shit. And it was basically, I've probably talked to you about this before, where there was these ideas and philosophies that, like that the moon would send like square waves here, and that Saturn would send sine waves here,
Mhm.
and just all those things about frequencies and energies, and how all these different, and you probably understand these because of music, how, oh, you can do like a square wave, or you can
Yeah.
do sine waves. And so one of the philosophies behind it was like the born into sin idea, and they'd say like, oh, we're born into sine, so like we're born through a sine wave. And it just started breaking down everything down to our body, our molecular makeup, down to our atoms, and it would twist all this science into like biblical and spiritual religious stuff. And I was just like, dude, this is like blowing my gourd, because it it's like it's just like such a weird feeling of, you start questioning, is this the truth? Could this be the truth? And since I was searching for the truth that long, I felt like I found it. And then there's like, it's not like thinking, it's like feeling, where you're like, no, I know that uh, there's something in here. It might not all be the truth, but there's some bits of truth here.
Yeah.
And it just, like I said, you know how it is when you're having a psychedelic experience and you're like, whoa, is this really the nature of our reality?
Mhm.
So I don't know. I just went off and unloaded, but that shit, it just blew my gourd. And that was when all these other conspiracies started hitting, and that one slid into my life. And I was like, what?
Mhm. Yeah, man. I don't know. I always thought it was interesting. Um, I feel like it's more of a metaphor though, because in that sense it is kind of real. Um, maybe not the flatness so much, but in a way kind of, because we're all on the same like playing field, and then
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of trapped by society, man. And like, yeah, like that's the real conspiracy bait. I think,
Yeah.
like everybody knows it. It's just the fact that like
So that
we're
was
all
it. This is really when my kind of paranoia and anxiety started to kick in. And of course, I'm getting like strung out too. So my paranoia, you know, really starts to kick in. So basically, it led to this place in the rabbit hole, like you're saying, about society. And if you're taught this is the truth, and our overlords are like, no, 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 we're going to tell them this is the truth, and play with their minds, and maybe to rule over you. Like, people would create a religion, they remain in power, they bow down to you as they're your gods. Like, they say the Pope is the only one that can speak to, the priests can only speak to God, or whatever. But so this flat earth stuff led me to the reptilian shapeshifter elite, right? where they're like, okay, all the bloodlines of the Rothschilds and the, I can't even remember them all right now, Rockefellers and the royal families and these bloodlines try to keep their blood together because they come from this certain race, right? And that
Hmm.
and that these people are the ones that are ruling the world through the Hollywood, the media, the governments, and that NASA. So that's one of the things, because they'd be like, oh, the logo is a serpent's tongue, right? The red part.
Right.
And they would take it down to the root of like NASA in like Arabic or Hebrew means, it comes from the word nasha, which means to deceive.
Okay.
And so that was kind of the philosophy behind all this flat earth stuff as well, was people are like, no, these people that rule the world that are billionaires that have all the power to control society, they've been telling us a lie this whole time about the nature of our existence and stuff like that. So, then it creates all this distrust of the government. It enhances that. And so that's kind of where it led me. But it does go back to what you said about how if you're taught, and that's when I started to question myself. I was like, well, what if everything I was taught growing up wasn't true? Not saying I know that this is true and this is false. I'm like, well, what I was taught was false and all this stuff is true? And that the teachers and my parents and everybody before me, they weren't lying to me, but that was the truth that they were taught. What if it was the wrong truth? What if it was
Right.
propaganda? Which one's propaganda? I don't know. This is confusing me. And maybe that's all they're trying to do, is just confuse us and be like, oh, fuck, I'll never know. So fuck it. I'm going to go watch some Netflix and chill.
For sure. I think honestly anything to keep people busy and not standing up for their rights or whatever, like standing up to their governments. Um yeah, they love it probably. I don't know. I think that is the biggest conspiracy, and it's the one that everybody knows, is just corporations have basically taken over the country, and people are basically just wage slaves,
Spokes
not
in
to
the
be like,
wheel.
I mean, just, yeah, like, eh, just like how we're saying earlier, the prices of everything going up so much, like you basically have to work full time no matter what, just to function in society.
Well, yeah, I mean, when it comes down to the ideas of like Epstein Island and Ghislaine Maxwell, however the hell you say her name,
Uh-huh. I
Ghislaine.
think yeah, Jizz Lane.
I know it sounds even worse to be a human trafficker with Ghislaine.
Yeah,
I'm like, is this the street you go down
right.
or what? I don't know.
Uh-huh.
But that's again how people would break it down in the Matrix too, with numerology, etymology, how we end up with the name we have, the power behind the symbolism of the alphabet and the way things are written, and numbers and the date you were born at what time. That's, people break things down all the way down to those things, which is crazy. But what I was saying about Epstein Island is, and the wage slaves, is like, hell yeah, dude, that's the probably some of the biggest money, is what you can do with humans, whether it's like uh working slaves to do physical labor, or like the sex slave stuff, or sacrificial stuff. I would think, like, bringing it back to Dahmer, I'm like, maybe he was getting away with it for so long because these were like sacrificial rituals to the devil, if he was so into Satanism.
Right.
So I'm like, that's where the big money is. And maybe that's how they be staying in power is, that's the conspiracy, right? Oh, the Illuminati at Bohemian Grove, or, the sacrifices to
Yeah.
their god.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Moloch,
yeah,
the owl god.
well, yeah, and there's maybe there's something too about like the gods of sacrifice and child sacrifice. That would be, there's like a bull god. There's multiple gods, even Saturn, maybe not. But there's all that type of stuff, and that again brings you back to Dahmer being a cannibal and some of this power behind like the blood, the human blood. And there's this new show I want to watch called The Watcher. Have you heard of it?
I think I came across it.
And it's based on some true stories, I guess, but it gets into some of the stuff about the adrenochrome and cults and
Hmm.
some of their beliefs and lifestyles.
Right.
So as much as I don't want to believe in that stuff, I'm just like, dude, of course it's like why wouldn't it be? There's people in this world that's what they're interested in.
Yeah.
And some people may have been, they might have had a good upbringing, but I've met people that were like, I was raised in a cult and I was trafficked and used in these rituals. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's weird when you see it on TV or the internet, but when you meet people face to face, people could lie too, but
Yeah.
I don't know, just really, gets me thinking. And just I think that a lot of that stuff can give you a better understanding where it's like, yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer, you would see he'd look like another guy just walking around at the grocery store. Might be
Mhm.
walking right past a serial killer, just going to buy your cereal.
For sure. I know, dude. I mean, he seemed like a super weird dude though, too. Like, which I mean, it just goes to show like how many weird people do you come across, Um, the other day at work, it was like last week or something, dude was like, "Hey, I just wanted to ask you about those teardrop tattoos." And I'm
Mm.
like, "Oh yeah, man." I'm like, I didn't kill anybody." And he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Yeah, I didn't think you had it in you." And I'm like, "Well, everybody's got it in them. Like,
Well,
just
yeah.
depends on your
I mean,
situation."
yeah. Like, okay, I heard a story recently about these wrestlers that were attacked by a bear. Did you hear about that?
Recently,
Yeah.
and they fought it off.
Yeah.
I seen that.
Yeah, dude. So I think there is something like when your adrenaline kicks in,
Yeah.
or like a crime of passion
Hmm.
type of thing where it's like, I don't know, some of it could be like justifying homicide with like, oh, but if you were to walk into a room and witness something, happening to somebody you love, or see that they're in danger because of another person, I don't think I would hesitate to
Right.
protect.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone has got it in them. You know, some people might be more okay with it, but I mean, maybe some people will freeze up, and they don't have it in them.
Some people
But
might
yeah,
turn and run, yeah.
yeah, if like someone's trying to kill you or kill someone you love, or even just that, like, yeah, and you have the means to stop them, then you probably should. That's why they have that's why they have laws for that type of stuff.
Yeah, and that's the other amazing thing about the law. I seen this other little TikTok from a podcast, and they were talking about, I think it was saying something about there was some people that came into his house to, they were burglars or something, right? Four guys. So he grabs his gun, and these four guys run. And according to some laws, and of course these might be different in different states, he's like, so I looked into the laws, and if they were running from me and I shot them, I would be in trouble.
Hmm.
But if they were coming towards me and I shot them, they would
Right.
be in trouble, or and I would
Yeah.
be fine. So I don't know. Those are pretty weird things. Like if their back is turned to you or they're facing you.
Well, that makes sense because part of the law where you're defending yourself is you're in fear of your own life. And if the person has their back turned to you, then how could you be scared for your life in that moment?
That is true, yeah. And so that's what the interesting things about laws is. It's like, I don't know all the laws. You
Right.
could be breaking the law and you don't even know it's the law.
Yeah, that's why you definitely should know your laws as far as like that type of stuff goes. Like if you're got a gun in the house and you plan on using it for not plan on using it, but that's what it's for is burglars or
Protection.
whatever, you know. Yeah.
True that. Yeah, I guess I seen this other little TikTok or YouTube short that was, this lady's like, so why do you think it's okay that in your country it's okay to kill people? He's like, well, it's not. There's a law against murder. She's like, well, don't you guys have the right to bear arms? He's like, yeah, if you go through the right process. And she's like, but bears don't have arms. And he's like, um, yeah, they do. She goes, I thought they were called legs. He's like, I don't know. Maybe when they stand up, I would call them arms.
Hmm.
That was the short. And I'm just like, is this a real conversation?
No, don't sound like it.
But it's funny to see how, it's interesting when you see people might be in college too. So I'm not saying they're uneducated, but then they get into an argument with Ben Shapiro or one of these other people. So you'll see these activists or social justice warriors making their point, and then somebody over here that's like, well, no, this is kind of why you're wrong.
Yeah.
And I just love seeing that stuff because, again, certain things I do think come down to our nature and biology. And okay, check this out. My sister was telling me about how somebody at work, they're in transitioning, I think from a boy to a girl.
Hmm.
And she's like, oh, well, and they're like, no, I'm a they. And you say they, them.
Right.
And so she was confused at first because people would be like, well, they just came in earlier or they're over there. And she's like, who? There's only one person there. They're like, no, that is they.
Right.
And that's the one that I am still having trouble understanding.
What like the they them
Yeah.
pronoun? I mean, I guess it's just because it's gender neutral, right?
I guess. I don't know. That's what confuses me too, is if you're gender neutral, it means you're not a boy and you're not a girl. But it would make me think if you're gender fluid, that's when they change from a boy to a girl sometimes.
Yeah, I think the person who is trans wanting that gender neutral pronoun, I don't think it makes them gender neutral. They just want to have that pronoun. I don't know.
They
That's
just want to have it. Like, you can refer to
yeah.
me as a yeah, it's so strange. And
I mean, I imagine it would be weird for someone to, even though they are like transitioning and they're out in the open about it, it might be kind of weird for that person to be like, oh, I'm a him now. You know, maybe they want to have like, I'm not him yet and I'm not a girl anymore. I'm just kind of in between.
yeah, so it's kind of like your two identities, and it's starting to make me think about like the split personalities, where
Right.
you're like, well, I'm Jennifer in the morning when I wake up or whatever, but then, by the end of the day, I'm trying to be Jerry or whatever. I don't,
Yeah. I don't know. The whole transgender thing, it like, um, definitely there, because that's the whole point of it is like, it's not like you're changing your personality or anything. You're changing your body to fit your brain, because these people apparently feel like they're born in the wrong body. They feel like I'm a woman, everything about me is a woman, but I'm born in a man's body. So I mean, it's not really like a, split personality type thing. But for sure there is, just like with any group of people, like there's some wackiness.
dude, that's just reminded me of a nightmare I had last night. It's wackiness for sure.
Yeah.
It must have been a damn demon or something, because all right. So when we're talking about that, it makes me think of like, people trying to change themselves physically, and then also trying to change themselves mentally, where it's like, well, I physically could change my body and get estrogen or testosterone and like get boobs and chest hair and a beard, or get actually swapped out and be like, yeah, I got a vagina or a penis now, right? And then the identity thing of like, well, I identify as this, but my body is still like that of a man, but I identify as a woman. And there's a battle there. But so in my dream last night, I have this dream that like I'm like gonna hook up with somebody, right? And so I'm like, okay, this, weird. Like I remember making out with somebody like in a car, and then like being like, okay, we're gonna like take this further. We're gonna go to, she's taking me home, right? And I'm like, okay, I guess this is gonna be going down now, you know? And, so she's like taking off her clothes, and she's like, do you like this? Or, it was kind of this feeling of like, do you like this? Or is this kind of weird? I'm scared to show you my body, is what she was like saying to me. And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, I don't know. And then I look, and it was like, I see some like kind of like warts or something, right? Like she was smoking hot at first, right?
Right.
And then start to see some like weird skin and warts and hair. And then I'm like getting down to the poo nanny, and there's like, like there's like a weird little dick down there.
No.
And yeah, and a vagina.
Right.
Both of them, right? I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then I like look up, and there's like another wiener like on her chin or something.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's like a little weird one.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my God, I get fuck out of here. I'm like trying to run in my dream. And she's like, no, come to me. And I'm like, oh my God. I wake up. I'm like, what the fuck was that shit? Like, and then
Dang.
today I'm on my TikTok sitting on the toilet, right? That's pretty much the only time I look at TikTok.
Mhm.
And it says something in there like, if you're asleep and somebody's trying to sleep with you, that's a demon.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know, maybe that was last night, because that was fucking. It went from smoking hot to disturbingly grotesque, and I'm trying to get away, and it's
Dang.
trying to get me.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, dude, I don't know.
Uh, I don't know if I've ever had a dream like that.
I pray you don't, because, dude,
I must
oh,
have.
ugh, I'm I mean, I've had like wet dreams before, you know, it's like, yeah, man, that was like some chick in high school I had a crush on or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
This was whole nother level of like freaking scary movie. Whoa. What's
Weren't we
wrong with my
talking
head? I'd
about
be thinking.
weren't we talking about wet nightmares
Yes,
before on this podcast?
dude. Recently, I had a dream that I had a dream that I had a wet dream,
Hmm.
and I woke up and I was like, "Oh shit!" But I didn't have like a wet dream in this reality. But in my dream, I woke up in my dream and I was like, "Oh shit! I had a wet dream."
Dude. I had a dream the other night that I straight up like just shit and pissed my pants.
Oh no!
And I was like, I can't remember where I was, but I just left it in my pants for the longest time. I was like driving home and like somehow it's just like contained, you know. So I'm like trying to get home.
Oh, but did you actually poop your pants when you woke up?
Yeah, dude, I woke up and the bed was just
Oh,
destroyed.
dude!
Then I went to
Holy
work like
shit!
that.
You just left. You drove in the car all the way to work, and they're like,
Yep.
"What does that smell, dude?" That's the other thing about Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm like, dude, why is it nobody ever was like investigated this nasty smell?
Apparently they tried calling it in a bunch. They're like, nah, you guys are poor.
Yeah, and they're like, "Well, you live in the crack apartments, and you're
Yep.
black." Just like all his victims would be like other races that are gay.
Hmm.
So there's like, we don't care about you.
Right. That's fucked.
Yeah, it really gets you thinking just about society and just how the different races, and because I'm like, yeah, so a relative we have, you know, I heard they have a sign on the side of their car that says, "It's not Black Lives Matter, all lives matter." And I'm
Right.
like, I don't think I'll be rolling around with that. Like, I
Right.
feel like it would kind of make you a target just for anybody. Like, and I've thought that way. Like, man, fuck this Black Lives Matter shit. All lives matter. You know, whether you're Chinese, English, American, white, Indian. But I don't know. I'm like, does it if you say all lives matter, is that being like, I don't know. It makes me think that, oh, the Black Lives Matter thing has its purpose or was standing for something at that time.
Yeah. I mean, the phrase all lives matter in itself, like that's not an offensive statement. But the only reason that phrase exists is it's like a retort to the Black Lives Matter.
Right.
I mean, and just like as a phrase and a belief and all that is one thing, you know, but then you have the actual organization Black Lives Matter.
Hmm.
And just with anything like that, like there's going to be tons of shit people could pull up where they're like, oh, these people aren't for the cause or whatever, you know.
Well, I
But
forgot that there is an organization.
yeah, and it's been around for a long time, you know. It's not something that just popped up in the past since George Floyd type thing happened, you know. But yeah, man, I think it is kind of offensive, man, because like
I do too.
what can't you just let people have their thing? Like, you know,
Well, yeah, and that's like I was saying, I feel like it makes you a target and it's like opening up a door for arguments of opinions. And when it comes to issues like that, it's like, what, you're going to argue about a phrase? Or is the argument like, hey, like just that culture, we're all equal, which I'd like to think that we're
Right.
all equal, but there's still people in this world that are like, hell no, we ain't equals. There's still racism. There's still uh classism. I don't even know if that's a thing. Like,
For
hey,
sure.
I'm rich, you're poor. Get the fuck away from me. Like,
For sure.
you don't get to come to this party. You don't have 100,000 followers. You don't get your blue check mark. You don't get to come to this TikTok influencer party. Get the hell out of here.
Hmm.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can come to my
Yeah.
party anytime, James.
Hell yeah, dude.
Because there's a party later
Yeah.
today.
Okay.
Pants
I don't know.
party. I'm just kidding.
I think my private jet is being chartered right now. Can't
Oh, it
make it.
is? Well,
Yep.
I'll send mine to pick you up.
Okay. Well, yeah, dude, that'd be sick.
Yeah, dude. Those types of things, like, I love me some bling. Like hip hop bling.
Hip hop bling.
And I'm like, dude, I would love to have, riffraff type jewelry.
Right.
Where I'm like, dude, just a dope grill. It's like they got multiple grills, diamond, like, uh, have you seen some of these? Like, I think that riffraff has some of the coolest chains,
Yeah, he does.
and
They all got crazy chains up. Like that's the thing. Is to have like it's the most obscure thing just decked out with fucking
right,
yeah. But yeah,
like,
he has some pretty cool ones.
yeah, and that's what I like is like the really creative ones.
Yep.
And so, I always like to think like, yeah, I want that. Like I would love to have just whatever. What is this, a Power Rangers one for $500?
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. But then when you see like, and some of these, they're probably those like they're not actual diamonds, they're like lab diamonds.
Right.
They still look cool and everything. But I do like, and we've had that conversation about the worth of diamonds. But I'm like, man, I would love to be in that business.
The diamond business.
Or just like jewelry, like hip hop jewelry like that.
Yeah, I mean, some people can make some cool shit. I think it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, dude. Like, I know some people that do make grills, and I've known people that make chains and pendants, but I've never known like the dude that makes grills. I've had him on the podcast, Ace Flow. Grills by Flow or something is his thing, and you get the mold, and then he'll pour like the gold or the silver after he has the mold of your teeth. And I'm sure, if you had the access to the diamonds and this and that you could go a little more beyond that. But I've never known when it comes down to people making these pendants of like, oh, I'm gonna get, the planet Saturn or UFO or a rocket ship. Like what it takes to actually create that.
Um, it's just metallurgy, bro. You just gotta make that shit.
Yeah,
Just
dude.
cutting metal up and like probably like kind of soldering different things together and bending and polishing and all that.
What's up, son? You got some drawings? Roblox piggy artwork.
Dang, a whole storyboard.
Nice. I'll come check it out here in a bit. But yeah, dude, the art behind it, you know, to outsource, if I had like sources I could find, I'd be like, yo, dude, they did the framing or whatever, and they designed the metal. I don't know. I would, because I'm like, I would like to even just be in the business of getting it produced and selling it, or being like even the middleman that's like, yo, I got the connection. I can make it happen. Because, you know,
On
you
some
see,
like drop shipping type shit.
yeah, or like you see these guys at Icebox or whatever, you know. Have you seen that?
No, no.
It's just like a popular jewelry store that you'll see like a lot of rappers go to, and they'll be like, yo, we got a visit from Takashi 69, goes to Icebox and drops $100,000.
Right.
But just stuff like that. Like, I go to Icebox, check out the jewelry, and, you know, buy some jewelry. Or like I've seen Riff Raff go in there to get some custom jewelry made. It's like, yo, I want, you know, these rubies right here, and then I want this sapphire right here,
Yep.
or whatever. And I'm just like, man, I would love to be in that business one day, even if it's just in my own lane. Like, obviously I ain't gonna be at that level, you know, especially when they're already established. But, you know, just with building any sort of artistic thing, like with your music, and then growing an audience, and then, you know, being able to connect with other artists and help them with being like, yo, you want a dope chain? I got a connection. Just like making merch. Like, I'll help some people make merch, do some screen printing or logo design,
Yeah.
producing music for these people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, what else could I help produce?
Right.
So that's in the back of my mind. I'm like, I would like to get into the jewelry production, because obviously, you know, like, whatever, my daughter made me these necklaces.
Right.
I'm like, I love rocking some beads, even if they're plastic or whatever. I like the little silly jewelry that's like, oh, this is just like some little plastic hearts or some
Mm-hmm.
charm bracelet. But I do love myself some bling bling too.
Yeah.
I get in the crystals, and like, oh yeah, you got to get yourself the tiger's eye, because it, you know, whatever, it'll bring you luck and business prosperity or something like that.
Right. I mean, uh, do you know what your birthstone is? That's what you should be rocking.
Maybe some jade. Let me see.
How come nobody talks about birthstones no more? Remember that used to be a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. The June birthstones are pearl, alexandrite, and moonstone. You're June. No, you're
No,
July.
July. I can't remember what mine is.
Pearl, huh? Moonstone, that's pretty cool. Yeah. I don't know. I
Mine
found
Ruby.
you're
I got the
Ruby, huh?
Yeah.
You got one birthstone? You got a few in there?
It just says rubies represent love, health, and wisdom.
Huh.
That's right.
Why do I have 3? You gotta have more in there.
I don't know. I mean, it's just oh. Oh, there's 10 of July.
Oh, geez.
I can't keep up with all this, man.
I know, I'd be like, I just choose this one, and that's what I like.
I'm picking Ruby.
I mean, pearl is pretty cool, but I like moonstone. But yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, like we'd get rings like that. Like a mother would get a ring with the birthstones of each of her children or something.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I do believe there's some power behind those stones potentially. You just get a necklace that's like, yo, this is just some granite. Boy, I guess that is probably people are like granite has magical elements to it.
For sure.
You just get like some concrete necklace. It's like,
It's all just matter, man.
does it even matter? Black lives? I'm just kidding. Yes, they do. Do
Did you
the
see the shit
wolf
with
lives
Kanye?
matter? Yeah, saying George Floyd died from fentanyl.
Well, it started with him wearing the White Lives Matter shirt.
Oh, I didn't
You
see
didn't see
that.
that? Yeah, he wore a shirt with White Lives Matter on it to like the Paris Fashion Week or something.
Mm.
Yeah, and he's there with Candace Owens. She's like this conservative political commentator lady.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, people are all up in arms about that. And then he got kicked off of Instagram. Then he got
Mm.
kicked off of Twitter. And yeah, he's just been going crazy, dude.
I
He's
was gonna
on.
watch Genius on Netflix. I haven't
I
watched it
haven't
yet.
seen that yet.
Kanye documentary.
Right.
They should I mean he's probably been going he's always been crazy. Once Pete Davidson was hooking up with Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, he's always been crazy. He's always been in the news for doing shit. But this time it's like actually bad. Like uh he he's losing deals with what was it? Balenciaga just dropped a deal with him, and then I think it was JP Morgan kicked him out of their bank. Like he's not allowed to Yeezy isn't allowed to bank with them anymore.
Mm.
And yeah, so like all these companies are like not wanting to work with him. And he's kind of just like saying some wild shit.
Well, that is something I'm obviously I have had moments that were like I totally lost it and couldn't control myself, mainly when I was under the influence. But I'm no Kanye status wise, you know. But I was thinking the other day, my wife called me up and she's doing a lot of tie-dye, you know. She does like geode tie-dye and some really cool creative stuff now. And she's got probably like 100 or so pieces she's made. But she'll take some of her clothes that she's got, you know, she's got like too many clothing pieces of her own that she'll get from like thrift stores or hand-me-downs. People just give her clothes. She'll take this to this place called Funky Trunk. It's not really a thrift shop, but they specialize in like kind of cool, thrifty clothing. And you could bring stuff there and basically sell it on like consignment, where like, oh yeah, we'll take these and you'll make like a percentage of whatever the clothing you bring in sells for. And so she went and talked to him recently about getting her tie-dye in there. And they're like, yeah, you know, sign up this paperwork. You can become one of our like artists in here to get your clothing that you make in here. So she's super stoked on that. And again, it got me thinking because I was filming some videos with my kids. We're playing basketball, you know, stuff I'll upload onto like a vlog or our family channel. And, you know, since I've been getting sober and doing the recovery stuff and trying to rebuild my life, I'm much more conscious of stuff like that now. Like good behavior
Yeah.
and how I'm conducting myself in the real world and online because of how it could affect me, but how it affects everybody else. Which when I was under the influence all the time, I really didn't think about that stuff.
Right.
So I try to keep that in mind.
Yeah, dude.
You're not
I
even on
mean,
social that much nowadays?
not really. Not not trying to be thirsty like that.
You're not out there thirst trapping?
I mean, I'm on the dating, all of the dating apps.
Even
No.
Grinder?
Yeah, right.
You're like, I've
No.
been having the most luck on Grinder.
Yeah. I mean, I've I've honestly had that thought, but like, man, this Tinder shit is not working out. Like, I guarantee if I just made a Grinder account, dudes would be like,
Yo, can I
"What's
come
up?"
over?
Yeah. No. Okay, so when we're talking about Dahmer earlier, um, one of the things that I got from it was like, man, definitely times in my past I've been like too trusting of people.
Mm-hmm.
And one time I was thinking, I trusted my gut on this one, but it was just super weird because I was at the gas station and this dude walks up to me and just starts making conversation with me. You know, I'm like picking up my drink or whatever. And I can't remember what he approached me about. I think it was my shirt. And it was weird too, because it was like this real like long line shirt and it had like a deep ass V-neck. It was like not really a shirt that I would wear that much, you know, but I wore it that day. And so this dude comes up to me and he's like just talking to me about shit, like asking me about my job and stuff. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm like starting this business or something like that, man." He was trying to like rope me into this whatever deal he's trying to do, you know. And I'm like, "All right, man, this sounds all right, I guess." Like, you know, so like I gave him my number and he wanted to like meet up just for like just to go over everything. And I can't really remember what the fucking deal exactly was, but it was just like some business type thing. And he's like, "Yeah, we just get together and talk business basically."
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, "All right, man, like I basically had a date with this guy. Like we met up at this coffee shop, you know, and he told me all this stuff. And part of me was like, man, this is weird as fuck. But another part of me was like, well, what if it's real? You know, like I could be passing up on some opportunity, you know, just because I'm weirded out by it. Um, but then afterwards he was like, "Yeah, you can come by, um, you know, and bring like a notepad and dress in your nicest clothes or something like that." And yeah, and he's like, "We'll just have this meeting." And I looked up the address where it was, like looked up on Google Maps, and it was like it was pretty close to where I lived. And it was just back kind of where they have like these like shitty apartments, you know. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, what? This does not feel right. Like these guys are doing something different. I don't know. I don't know what, you know, but I'm like, I'm good, bro. I'm not coming over.
Dude, true that. Yeah, it's makes me think of when people are like, yo, if you're gonna be meeting somebody to sell something or buy something, meeting in public places. And
Right.
it makes me think of this one time because I used to obviously like this is something in my recovery book I'd kind of have to talk through with my sponsor and stuff about, and I would say things about my random encounters with partners, I guess you could say, like random people I don't even know, like go to a party, hook up with somebody. I don't know who this person is. Sometimes I didn't get their name. And that's pretty not good. And sometimes I wouldn't even have a condom on. That's not good either.
Right.
And, so, but that's where my mind would go under the influence of like a lot of alcohol or weed or whatever. I'm pretty sure there's times in my life I'd been drugged. But I was going to say one time we were living in Coeur d'Alene. We were looking for work in Spokane area. So we were both like, it was really hard to find work. And we seen something that was like, oh, this smoke shop is looking for models, something, right? So Kayliana and I Like, well, I guess we'll go there and you can talk to this guy about the modeling thing. And so I think, like, I drive her there and I'm just sitting outside the place and she goes in to talk to him, comes out, she's like, yeah, definitely no. I'm not gonna do what they want. That was so weird. And I'm like, oh my God, like what the hell? What was I even doing thinking anything other than that? You know? And thank God
Right.
nothing happened and that I stuck around here. And just be like, ah, drop you off. I'm gonna go check out the record store or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And but in my mind I look back and I'm like, why did I even let her go in there by herself?
Right.
Or just too trusting of the world and not thinking about those dangers of somebody might seem like a nice normal person. It's like, yeah, I got a business opportunity for you. Just like at the end of that Dahmer when John Wayne Gacy has that dude over for a job interview or whatever.
Right. Yep.
I'm like, dude, that stuff's so weird. And just like you were saying, you went on that date and brought that chick some Taco John's or something.
All right. Yeah.
And you're like, man, what if I was just like some psycho?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like that I don't know.
Or if she was.
That's what I was saying too. Yeah, like that whole thing was weird. But I mean, that's kind of what people do on dates, you know, like they might meet up somewhere and then, go back to one of the person's places, like I can't imagine being a girl or being a woman, like because that's got to be in the back of your mind all the time, like this guy could fucking kill me, like
Or
at,
yeah,
with any guy,
for sure. I seen
I
something
mean,
come through my feed that was about, what were you gonna say something?
no, I don't know.
Oh, it was just saying about people with open marriages or open relationships too, I'm sure.
Yeah,
And they're saying he must have been like some sort of marriage counselor or relationship counselor. He's like, from what I've seen, if somebody approaches their partner with the idea of being like, you know what, maybe we should try this open relationship stuff because they're meeting people and want to like get together and hook up. And basically, he was saying how it's a lot different for women because of how much more they're desired by men and kind of the whole idea of like how you go about hooking up with people. Like, whatever. I'm sure there's swinger parties for sure. But, when people start to have certain, I guess you would say, boyfriends or girlfriends, where it's like, hey, man, I got these, like, we're in an open relationship. These are like the 4 guys I'm involved with, and he's got, these girls over here. And just saying how it starts to mess with people's heads sometimes. Some people might be like, yeah, it's awesome. I love it. It's saved my marriage or whatever. But more often than not, it could be really like depressing for one of the people in the relationship because the female might be going out all the time and like getting all these people that are like, yeah, man, this hot chick or whatever. But he might be like, I'm not getting that lucky.
right.
And just that difference, like you say, of being a woman and always having to like watch out because I feel like the ratio of men and women predator type people probably is more men preying on women.
Oh, it is for sure. Yeah,
And
100%.
yeah, so that's definitely got to be the scariest thing out there. And especially nowadays in the dating market, I don't know what it's like. I mean, you do more. than me. Obviously, I'm not dating, but I've never gone on a Tinder date. I don't think I've ever met anybody or connected with somebody on the internet and then met them in real life.
Right.
It's kind of weird. It makes me feel like old.
I mean, it is kind of weird. For sure.
Catfished. Never been catfished.
Right. Me neither.
But yeah, I guess I do remember when I was in high school and there was like, fuck, I don't even know how I got these people's numbers. I remember talking to some like emo chick that like live in another town, and we just like text back and forth all the time.
Yeah.
And I'd like develop feelings, and I believe, and she would develop feelings from what I understand.
Hmm.
And there was just for some reason, some chicks that I'd talk to. I don't even know how I got their number. Looking back on it, I'm like, they live in another
Yeah.
town. MySpace. I don't even think it was through MySpace.
Hmm.
But I do remember this one chick, like, I'm on my flip phone, right? But you could send pictures. And this one chick sent me like a picture of her and her boobs. And I was like, oh damn. And she's like, oh my God, please delete that immediately. I don't ever do stuff like that. And I'm just like, man, this is so weird how it's just weird. Like, you
Yeah.
don't know anybody. I've never met you. Connecting through the internet, you're telling me about your family and the way you feel. And "Oh, I wish I could see you. I just want to be with you. My birthday's coming up or whatever."
Right.
Like, fucking, I don't know. It's sort of a weird thing.
I mean, people had pen pals, you know. People just want someone to talk to.
Dude, that's the truth. And that's the other thing that got me, when Jeffrey Dahmer's in the cell and there's these chicks sending him things like, wow, you're my hero. I love you. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so weird when, people can fall in love with a serial killer.
Well, see, it's fucked up that I'm like super concerned about making girls uncomfortable just because I'm a guy. And then there's girls out there who are like super fans of fucking dudes that are like actually murdering people.
Dude, yeah. It's so strange. It's I don't know, maybe it was on Joe Rogan, they were saying like how women might be attracted to like that idea of like protection, like, oh, this person has it in them to do this. But I
Yeah.
remember I seen this story about a guy that had an affair and like killed his wife and his daughters. It's so fucked up. And he like stuffed them into a big like oil thing
Oh
that
yeah.
he
That
worked at.
was the documentary on Netflix.
I haven't watched that documentary, but I've seen some like online documentaries that some person made.
Right.
And again, all these women are just like, oh, I love you. And I'm like, what the fuck? This guy literally murdered the woman he was with, the mother of his children, and you're next in line. You just want to take that position?
Right.
Like that, I don't
So
understand
stupid.
psychology behind it. Yeah, I should write a song about that, man. Makes we should,
I
just
mean,
about what?
I don't know. There's something real special about our country, man. Like there's a lot of fucked up stuff about it that's like pretty unique to our country, like there's not a lot of serial killers in other countries, and it does seem like a thing that's like it's like a trend, like just like in I don't know if they showed it in Dahmer, but like the term serial killer it only came around when serial killers started popping up all over the place.
Mm.
So I mean, yeah, there's yeah, because you don't really hear about that too much from other countries, you know? Like, isn't it something that's mostly happening in America?
Well, I never thought about it, but
Well, I'm gonna look some up.
I mean, it does make sense. I don't really hear stuff like that. I don't know if I lived in another country. I mean, there's got to be them in other countries.
Yeah, for sure, but just how many we have.
It's like cults. Like I hear that America's like the cult capital of the world.
Really?
And yeah, I don't know if it goes into the freedom of religion stuff, but there was like hundreds of cults in America, which probably goes into the serial killer stuff where like Dahmer was saying, is just like that feeling of control that he
Dude.
was so attracted to.
Okay, so there's a Wikipedia page. I'll just screen share this because this is nuts. So this is the Wikipedia page for list of serial killers by country. And there's quite a bit. Some of them have quite a bit.
Some of them
But you
have
got
one.
right. Let's go to United States. It has its own page.
Oh my god.
Look at this, dude. It goes on forever.
Wow, I wonder how many there are there. So
Hold on,
what was
let
that
me
one
find.
dude? I don't know if he's considered a serial killer, but that dude in Great Falls.
It's like 800.
Jeez.
Um,
Um,
yeah. Barjona.
oh, was he on that list? Or did you
I'm
exit it?
not sure. Well, it's right here still.
His last name was Barjona, or was that his first name?
Yeah. No, it was Nathaniel Barjona.
Let's see if he's on there.
I don't know how you can like search within the list.
Well,
I
it
guess
was
it's
alphabetical.
alphabetical. Let's
I
see.
I mean, when I was a kid, that was the first.
He's not.
Oh, not enough people. Only he only had 6 victims, or I don't know what he had, but
Right.
yeah. Again, he reminds me of Jeffrey Dahmer type.
Dude, yeah.
Just super strange. And I guess around this time of the year, I get a little more into the dark side of humanity around Halloween.
Yep.
Um,
Spooky season.
Spooky season for sure. You gonna do anything for Halloween?
I don't know. My cousin was just asking me. Guess they're gonna have a little get together at her place, but I might not go. I don't know.
Oh, because they'll be
It's a
partying?
Monday.
Oh, yeah. Monday.
I
work.
mean, I'm sure it'll be pretty low key, but yeah, I'll just be working.
Yeah, dude. I remember one party on a Halloween I went to when I was living at Shayna's.
Yeah.
I was leaving work, shut down my kitchen at Taco Treat Amigo Lounge. And listen, that I seen a ghost. I've probably told you that story.
I think so.
Shut down the kitchen, and this girl, the waitress, is walking in front of me. And I see this like apparition or like a wisp kind of go by in front of us. And I'm not saying nothing because I'm probably high. She's like, "Did you see that?" I was like, "What? You saw that?" She's like, "That was a ghost." I was like, "No
Right.
way." So later that night, go to the party at that party house behind Van's IGA. They
Mm-hmm.
ended up hating me there later. They said I stole somebody's wallet. I didn't steal nobody's wallet. I definitely got very fucked up there all the time.
Right.
And so that night, homie gave me, he had like a big bag of Reese's, but he's like, "Yo, these Reese's all have mushrooms in them." I was like,
Yep.
"No way, dude. I'll take some of that." I don't know how many mushrooms were in each thing, but I ate a whole thing. I don't really remember what happened that night. When I woke up, I was sleeping in a bed there with my leather jacket and my shirt on, no pants on.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck happened here? I don't know if I hooked up with somebody last night, but the chances about 50-50 chance here.
Yeah.
My pants aren't on. I had my
Mhm.
boxers on.
Right.
So I may not have.
Did you never found out?
I never found out. No.
Dang.
I probably like banged one of their girlfriends, like, never let that motherfucker over. I'm just kidding. She banged me, okay? I wasn't even conscious. I was raped. Okay?
Dude, I remember one time, I think we were at Megan Milady's house. And I think we probably were partying at that house before that, but we ended up at Megan Milady's house, and I was dating Ramona at the time. And we we ended up like fucking on her couch.
Oh,
And
I remember seeing that.
were you there?
I'm pretty sure because I like come walking in. I was like, oh, damn. I just
Dude.
see like your ass and her legs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, James. Because I remember saying, I was like, damn, James, get it, dog.
But that was not my idea, man. Like she we always just ended up fucking in like the craziest places. Yeah, I would have been like, yo, let's like go hide somewhere. But she didn't give a
Well,
fuck.
you know, that night, it may have been the same night, possibly, because I ended up in Megan's bed and hooking up with her. And I'd always kind of I'd like flirt with her, you know. I guess that night I was finally successful. And, you know, I remember saying so. I was like, we flip it around, you know. I'm gonna hit it from the back. And she's like, no. Like, what? Why not? She's like, I don't even do that with my boyfriend. Like, oh, all right. Well, I guess whatever. I'll just keep on at it. And
That's crazy.
dude, yeah, I felt so bad, like, because I was friends with who she's dating. I mean, I didn't feel bad about getting on with her. But one day, actually, I don't think I ever really felt bad. But one day, we were all like cruising in Nate's car, somebody's car, and I mean, you may have been there. But I just remember like Megan was sitting on my lap, and somebody else was sitting next to me, and somebody sitting on their lap because we're just crammed in the back, right? And go to like a fast food joint, pick up some burgers, and her boyfriend is like the dude handing us burgers, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, guys? What's going on?" And his girlfriend's sitting on my
Dang,
lap, and I'm just like, hey, like
man.
this is really weird." But I'm like, I was probably drunk, and I was like, "What, dude? I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm the man now."
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude. So, you know, some of those encounters, at least they were with some people I, knew for a while. But there was definitely some times at parties, or I'll think back to when I lived in Seattle. And I'm just like, dude, what the fuck was I doing? Like, I would, I'd meet somebody in town, like have a friend, sort of, that I had met and known for like a few days. They take me out, we go partying. And it was just like, I was so trusting of people. And, I think back to that stuff too. And, I'm talking to one of the homies here, and like he went and met a girl that he's friends with on Facebook, got together with her at her place. That was the first time I met in person, right? And I was like, well, you guys just having some drinks and loosen up, and like it went down? He's like, well, I mean, I had like a little bit to drink, and she was drinking some liquor, and I was like, are you sure you're not just into me because like, and you want to do this because you are drinking? And he's like, I just try to always be really conscious of that. And I thought back to, because I had some girlfriends that it's obviously we weren't always drunk when we do the hibbity dibbity. But a lot of times at these parties, I'm like, dude, we were all just fucking sloshed
Mm-hmm.
and like hooking up with each other. But I don't know. There was definitely some people I probably would not have hooked up with had I not been under the influence,
Yeah.
and probably vice versa.
Right. Oh, for sure.
So yeah, because I've never even really been that type of a person either. Like you knew me before I even smoked or drank, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like shy, reserved. I just
Yeah.
had my few friends that I hung out with, and then once I started, mainly when I started drinking, because when I was smoking, it was like whatever. I would still just keep to myself, and I even quit the band, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd kind of isolate myself. Even, I just smoke by myself in my room and like play guitar, write songs,
Right.
draw, write, and I just isolate. And then when I started drinking, I really started drinking to try and hang out with more people,
Yeah.
act a fool. And but that's when I was like kind of would have that more courage to be like, you know what, I'm gonna make a move. And yeah, it's just super strange how my personality totally changed.
Mm-hmm. I feel that.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to get back. And even the performing live music stuff, where I was like, man, I use that as so much as a social lubricant that it's hard to again adjust to doing these things without it, and like relearn how to just be like confident.
Yeah.
I don't know. You still trying to meet anybody nowadays, or just nose to the grindstone pretty much?
Yeah, it's whatever, man. I mean, I'm not trying, but I'm not trying. But mostly, yeah, I'm just trying to take care of business mostly, work and save up and not getting into no trouble.
That's good. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the other difference about meeting people nowadays. Online is where a lot of it's going down.
For sure. Yeah.
One of these days we'll have to link up again, and shit, I haven't seen you since I got that cat.
Right.
And then like going to Hollywood with you, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I know, dude.
Well, I guess we'll have to plan for something totally rad
Yeah.
here sometime soon.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but
I don't know.
I have been wanting to get back out there. I want to check out the House of Mystery, but
Yep.
it's always easier to link up if we have some sort of something to do.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, we're getting together because, oh, well, I actually don't really have many homies that I even talk to that much.
Mm-hmm.
What how have you been? Are you still not drinking, or?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's good. That's cool. Like, I always think about that,
For sure.
because I'm like, oh man, I hope James ain't drinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, it's not really that hard. Every once in a while I'll be like, sounds nice, but I just think of like I'll go a long time without even thinking about it, you know.
Hmm.
So
Well, yeah, it's
yeah.
just like when I was by myself and had those thoughts, and I was like, no, I don't think it'll make me feel good. I'll feel guilty when I start drinking,
Yeah.
and then you wake up most likely hungover because I'll be like, fuck it, dude, I'm drinking, I'm going all out
Yeah.
because that's what I do, and yeah, so glad to hear that. That's super awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kayliana's coming up on a year here soon, which would be cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
That's what's up.
plus I don't have many people in my life that are, on not drinking for one,
Right.
that in my opinion have had a past drinking a lot and that have sometimes had negative effects in our life, whether it be, just in the mind or emotions or body,
Yep.
or actually like the realities of life, like, I lost my job and my money's all gone or whatever. But yeah, I just don't have a lot of people like that in my life, so it's always good to, like, I can't remember the last time, probably like a band practice or something. Maybe some of the guys at work, they might have like a beer if we're out of town, which ain't no big deal, whatever. But yeah, I'm just not around it anymore.
Yeah.
And ideally, it's not like I'm trying to hang out with people that like live like that drink regularly. So it's good to, and I was telling Kayliana that I was like, because I go to my group meetings and I have some people that are in recovery or, on this path of sobriety and staying sober. But a lot of her friends, we don't hang out with anybody, but some of the people we used to hang out with are still, partying and stuff. And in my mind, I'm like, well, I got James. We
Hmm.
talk like every week, and we've been on. Plus, I feel like I'm like, ever since I quit drinking, James is like right there too.
Yeah.
So that's cool for me to kind of have a partner in the process.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just super
For
nice.
sure.
Well, I'm super stoked to hear it, bro. Can't wait till we get together again in the real world.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I was actually just looking for snow tires today. I need to get those
Some used
because
ones or some.
no, gonna get some new ones.
How
But
much is it gonna cost you? Like a G,
I mean, no, probably 600, 5 or 600.
right?
But yeah, just I don't know how much traveling I'll be doing this winter.
Yeah, I ain't gonna be doing no traveling except when I have to go, make all my deliveries on Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be flying through the sky in the sleigh.
Yep, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. I'll be Rudolph. That's my
Right.
job. No,
Yep.
I'm just a, I'm just a slave reindeer out there.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
Yeah. No, but I probably won't be traveling in the winter. Probably next spring for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You still have thoughts of moving one day?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Um,
Just kind
yeah, I
of
don't know.
thought.
Hmm.
Well, next year, I probably won't see you in person till next year, so maybe
Yeah,
we'll have to arrange some sort of a trip. Weekends I'm usually available. Of course, I want to get back in the world musically and travel around, but just really trying
yep,
to get to that point again. And I think that it is pretty important for me and a goal of mine to just build up the online audience and connections.
right.
Because, like you were saying, with some of these guys that do review videos, they might make that and then they go on a comedy tour.
Hmm.
So, one day again, when I get back out there and get to performing music and doing some touring, I'll be
Yep.
hitting you up.
Hell yeah.
But maybe we'll arrange something one day to just, I don't know, go camping or go check out
That'd be dope.
some cool locations in Montana.
Yeah,
We'll just plan an adventure one day.
for sure, dude. That'd be sick.
One day we'll actually have to go to the actual crossroads.
That'd be pretty dope, actually.
It's on my bucket list.
Hell yeah.
Shit.
Well, yeah, I'm getting pretty hungry, bro. Probably gonna cook up some grub.
Cook it up, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do the same thing. Maybe just, heat up some leftovers.
Yeah.
But
There you go.
I got a human heart in the freezer.
I have a
So-
whole human head.
Oh my God, dude. I can't believe that. I'm like, that's just insane.
Dude.
Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm gonna finish the Dahmer tapes and then I'm gonna watch some Care Bears after that.
Right.
So I don't have any more really messed up dreams. God, that was fucking.
What is the Dahmer tapes? Is that just interviews with him or what?
Yeah, it's like the actual interviews.
Okay.
And so it's like real footage, real
Yeah.
voices, and the real people that were involved. It's on Netflix.
Just a docu-series, basically.
3 episodes.
I might check it out.
Check it out. Jeez, I'm about to freaking take a nap, bro.
Dang.
I'm getting
Well,
old, man. Oh God.
how long do we go? We started at 1, 2.5 hours about. It's about average for us.
Hoorah, hoorah. Bravo,
Yep.
James. All right, man.
All
Love you,
right.
dog.
Love you too, brother.
I know. I love you.
I love you.
No, I don't think you understand. I love you.
Okay. I understand.
No, like I like you. I like love. Like I actually not like that though. No homo.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I just like love you.
Okay.
I love you, man.
I get it.
No, like I don't think you do. Well, I mean like a brother.
Right, right.
But
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
want to
yeah.
make sure you're not confused.
Nah, it's loud and clear.
Like
It's that type of
LUV, like text message, like ILUVU,
Right.
not
Like,
LOVE.
right. That's
That'd be
too
weird.
serious.
Yeah, dude. Are you kidding me?
No.
Not like XOXO.
No, right, right. Not like romantic love, but like
No. Like
yeah,
brotherly love. Like I bruv
Right.
you. I bruv you.
right. Okay.
All right.
I bruv you too, bro.
All right, bruv.
Yup. It's all bruv.
All right, bruh. Pound it.
Word.
right. Peace.
Bam. Peace. I'm all blurry.
Oh, blurry face. All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Later, Gator.